For 2 seasons, the road to winning the AL West has gone through Oakland. The Rangers know that the A's are the team to beat if they want to play in October. A revamped Texas squad came out swinging last night behind 2 new faces. Shin-Soo Choo's leadoff home run set the tone, and then Prince Fielder's game-tying hit got them right into the mix of this rivalry. The Athletics will look back into the win column and continue to ride its strong pitching and clutch hitting, a formula that has led to a red-hot start this season. The battle continues. Game 2, A's Rangers, next. It's a chilly night at the O.K. Coliseum, and it's a breezy night. Brandon Moss with a home run last night. He'll try to get the A's a victory tonight with a little help from the starting pitcher. That'll be Tommy Milone. Rangers won last night 4-3. A's will try to even the series tonight. It's the Rangers and the Athletics coming up on Comcast Sportsnet Boston. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Tommy Milone will be making his 3rd start. A's pitching has been terrific. Best ERA in the league so far, so it's up to Tommy Milone tonight. You know, we've talked a lot about Jesse Chavez, how important he is with the 2 injuries, but how about Tommy Milone? He is also in there and might be in the rotation all season, and why not? He's won 25 games each of the last 2 years, or in the total last 2 years, but the thing that he's doing now, he's mixing his pitches a lot better. He's got a 2-seam fastball, great changeup, great curveball. It's just if they could score runs for him and not give up unearned runs. That's been the biggest problem in his young career with the Athletics. Too many errors behind him and too many unearned runs. But one of the Rangers' best hitters in the first month of the season has been Kevin Kuzminoff. Who would have thought it? Had a great spring training, and now he's coming up with huge hits, 2 of them last night. Well, considering what has happened to Adrian Beltre on the disabled list, and Kuzminoff showing his power down in Texas when he joined the ball club, the American League Player of the Week. But last night he did something that we did not see a lot of here, and that's hitting the ball the opposite field. Got an RBI single to tie the game. And this double off the right center field wall. Just something he did not do as a member of the Athletics. So he's changed his approach, using the whole field, and we saw it last night. Now the A's will be facing a young right-hander making just his 2nd major league start, Nick Martinez. So Martinez and Milone is your pitching matchup tonight for Game 2 of this series. We'll have lineups at first pitch when we come back to the O.K. It's the A's and the Rangers, Game 2 of the series.
Position, the right fielder, number 60.
Let's go places.
The kids from James Logan High School sang the national anthem. Check it out. Check them out. Every other one. Green tie, gold tie. Green tie, gold tie. I like it. They did a great job, and they dressed the part as well.
That's a heck of a choir. That's a big one.
Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The admission-free boardwalk is open this weekend. What do we got? Chilly, that's what we got. 56 degrees, and look at the wind, 27 miles per hour. And you know, the flags here sometimes tell you something, sometimes they don't. But it is breezy down on the field, no question about that. So we'll see if that comes into play at all tonight. Lineup tonight for the Texas Rangers. You saw Michael Choice. Michael Choice is going to lead off tonight and play left field. Chu is out of the lineup. Anders will play short. Rios in right, fielder at first. Kuzmanov at third. Then Murphy, who's the DH. Chirinos, Martin, and Wilson. That's Josh Wilson.
Tommy Malone, third start for this season, and the left-hander in the rotation. Has one loss, but he's pitched well. Just really too many earned runs, a couple of walks, 8 strikeouts in 11 innings. So utilizing the two-seam fastball, maybe more ground ball outs tonight.
So Tommy Malone trying to get that first win of the 2014 season. And the first pitch to Michael Choice is a bit outside. So Michael Choice hitting in the leadoff spot tonight.
707.
Choice 231 the average. He's got a home run. And now he's ahead in the count 2-0.
Saw him last night dump a single into right field off a high changeup, and as a result tonight kind of playing him towards right field with Coco Chris slightly in right center. Changeup.
Well, returning our scorebug logo green in support of NBC Universal's company-wide initiative to promote green every day, energy efficient living this Earth Week. Another changeup, and that one just tapped at the plate. So 2-2 the count. Elvis Andrus to follow, and then Alex Rios just underway from the Coliseum.
John Jaso likes to call a lot of changeups, especially back to back to back. Tommy's got a good one also, and that really helps the catcher to be able to really call it anytime he wants, especially Jaso knows that hitters like fastballs and fastball counts. Something that looks like a fastball, pull the string.
And the 3-2 pitch is a changeup, but it's outside, and a leadoff walk for Michael Choice. Here's the defense for the Athletic. Cespedes, Crispin, Reddick in the outfield. Donaldson, Lowry, Sogard, Moss on the infield. And Jaso is catcher. It's good to have Coco back in the lineup. Coco had some x-rays taken on his ribs. The x-rays were negative. And he was in the original lineup, but the A's kept a close eye on him during BP to see how he felt and how he looked. And he's okay, and he remained in that lineup. First pitch to Elvis Andrus from Malone is a strike. A's come in with a 13-6 record. They continue to have the best record in the American League. They've gone 6-4 at home, and of course losing last night by a final score of 4-3. Andrus dribbles that one foul.
Coco diving for a ball, missed it by a foot or so, but he lands hard on his left side, and rib cage on the left side. Did pop up as if everything was okay, but did grab the left side. He did also rotate his right arm as he threw a ball back in, but he's also had surgery on his right shoulder. That's in the past, but good to see him back there tonight.
Elvis Andrus not doing well as this ball went off the foot. Oh, that got him square. Wow.
I remember last night he had his hand in his pocket, had the muffs on his ears, and tonight's blowing in his hand, so he must really feel the cold tonight.
Come on, Ray. He just fouled it off his leg. He may have a broken leg.
Well, no, but it hurts because it's cold. It's cold, and so it makes it even worse. But so I'm saying if he was cold last night, he's definitely cold tonight because it is colder. See, they're hooded up.
Malone's going to check on Michael Choice. Rios to follow. Andrus not feeling all that great right now as he finally steps back in the box. 0-2 the count. There's a changeup just a bit outside. 1-2 the count.
And he started, it just kept floating away out of the strike zone and closer to the plate. Might have gotten a rollover, although Andrus likes to hit the ball to the right side, and Sogard has to play close to second for a possible double play. That's the danger with the runner at first.
In the dirt, and Jaso with the block. Rangers come in with a 12-8 record, and they've been playing good baseball. They've won 6 out of their last 7. Right now, a game and a half behind the A's. The Angels have won their game already. Angels beat the Nationals 7-2. Big story in that one. We'll tell you about it. A milestone met. Probably figure that one out. So 2-2 the count to Elvis Andrus. There's a line shot, and Coco's going to play it on a hop in center field.
Time now for the Nissan keys to the game. Of course, beware of the thump in the middle of the Texas lineup, and that's not good for the A's because right now they have 2 runners on in front of the thump of the lineup for Tommy Malone. Change up, it needs to be effective, and that was a high fastball that Elvis Andrus did hit, or just hit, and so all of a sudden with Rios up, first and second, nobody out. Leadoff walk started it.
Adrian Beltre still on to disable us. Rangers hope to maybe get him back this weekend. Rangers will be in Seattle Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 2 on, nobody out, and here are those big hitters, starting with Alex Rios. First pitch is low. 325 with a homer and 10 RBIs for Rios. 3rd most hits in the American League so far. And that one missed inside. Not by much.
Well, Tommy, as you mentioned, the 2-seam fastball, he'd like to get a ground ball, try to get 2 outs. And the 2-seam fastball helps him, or a changeup that he can roll over, and maybe that's the time of a strike zone. A couple of pitches look like they've been closer than they have been called. Fortunately for Malone, out of the strike zone.
Rios check swing, bouncer toward first. Moss right near the bag grabs it. So Rios is retired, but both the runners move up. So RBI opportunity for Prince Fielder, with Kevin Kuzminoff coming out into the on-deck circle. So we'll see how Malone approaches Prince Fielder. Career versus these Texas Rangers. Most of his starts have been in Arlington. Seen him once last year in 3 starts. And that one's popped up on the infield on the first pitch. And Lowry grabs it, and that's out number 2. Huge out from Malone.
Prince Fielder looking for something other than the curveball that he got, and he has the lift in his swing, and he lifted this one, and for him, not what he was wanting, but for the A's, perfect, because the big guy hit it straight up and kept it on the infield. And out on the front foot and just lifted it, and he's upset because he knows he was brought over to drive in runs, and they were there just to hit something other than what he did. So now it gets even tougher, especially with Kuzminov hitting behind Prince Fielder.
Expo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. And here is the hot hitting Kevin Kuzminov. A couple of big hits last night for the Rangers. And the first pitch is inside. 370 for Kuzminov.
And really you have to recognize the fact that he is hot. And that's against Donnie Murphy in the on-deck circle. He got a big hit last night to drive in Kuzminov, but first base is open. You can try to pitch the hot hitter carefully. If you don't get him to hit your pitch, then you can think about the hitter in the on-deck circle.
Inside again, 2-0, and maybe that's what Malone's doing.
Important thing is for a pitcher to be able to pitch carefully. And right, Tommy's kind of looking around. Maybe he thinks some of those pitches are catching the inside part of the plate.
And that changeup looked like a decent pitch as well. A little bit low. It's Adrian Johnson calling balls and strikes.
Well, he's not calling the one on the inside. This one crossing the plate, probably not as low as it was called. They're going to put him on. Yep. Probably would have had the green light, 3-0. So intentional walk and take the chances with Murphy.
So 2 outs, bases loaded for Murphy, who had a big hit last night.
Well, a fastball that he swung and missed, and then a slider that was down and in, came back with a fastball, and Murphy looked for it, got it, and that was the game winner. The A's did have the chances, and talking to some of the hitters today, Cespedes, everybody thought Cespedes' ball should have been up into Sweets.
So did we.
Yeah, and Moss thought his would have been in the second deck. But windy, cold last night, conditions, unfortunately, did not help the A's with a couple of long balls.
Murphy tried to hold up on a changeup, couldn't do it. 0-1.
Now this is the pitch that Kuzminov took 2-0 like he knew it was coming, and Murphy thinking maybe he's going to get the fastball, which he got last night, swung and missed from Doolittle, but a nice changeup from Tommy Malone.
Inside, and the count now even at 1-1. So 21 pitch first inning for Tommy Malone, and the bases are loaded. Swing and a miss, and the bat goes sailing. It's a pretty good bat toss right there by Murphy.
Change up, fastball that missed, and then a great curveball. Donnie Murphy just fooled badly, and the bat just kept going. Really high leg kick, got the foot down, and so did the bat.
So 1-2. And that one bounced way out in front of home plate to even the count.
Darren Bush works with the catchers. Darren Bush, the bullpen coach, and that's a perfect block. You will not find anything any better than this. Glove down on the ground, cupped his shoulders, kept the ball in front of him. Nice play by John Jaso. Now even better than that to get the third out, and that being able to save a run.
Murphy taps slowly down the third base line, and that's going to be a base hit, and that's going to be a run. How about that? So Donnie Murphy really could not have rolled it out there much better. So Murphy will get a hit and an RBI, and the bases are still loaded.
Well, he had the big swing, just happened to hit right on top of the ball. Definitely fooled. And with the grass, the ball on the grass, Donaldson playing deep, and no chance whatsoever. It's too bad because nice block by Jaso, but that's like bunting with 2 strikes. But he swung and just happened to place it perfectly.
So here's Robinson Chirinos, the catcher. And he got a fastball, and he And a good cut, fouls it straight back, 0-1. So a couple of walks and a couple of singles, and the Rangers have a 1-0 lead. This is inside. Not by a lot.
I've never seen Tommy look the way he has looked on several of the pitches inside, and he's got to be wondering. Yeah, he's definitely showing it now.
Well, I would say that Tommy Milone, of all the easily of all the pitchers on the A staff, he shows the least emotion.
Right.
So if he shows any kind of emotion,
yeah,
you know he's not happy. It is a tight strike zone from Adrian Johnson.
And the A's players looking in just hope that whenever they put the bat in their hand, it's going to be as tight for the opposing pitcher, because it definitely has been extremely tight in this half.
Missed inside again, and now it's 3-1, and it's a 28 pitch first inning. Well, that is Nick Martinez. He's been sitting in the dugout for a while.
Tommy's got the good changeup. He's got the two-seam fastball. What does he throw here as far as 3-1 count, bases loaded? Just hope Torinos is aggressive and swings through something off speed.
And he missed it. And trotting home is Elvis Andrus. And it's 2-0. So an infield hit with the bases loaded, and now a walk with the bases loaded, and 2 runs are in.
Well, that was the big out, because after Donnie Murphy did what he did, looked like it had him on the ropes, and Torinos would not offer at the off-speed pitch. Started to, but maybe kind of looking for it as the scout, Van Scout, and so really not Elvis Andrus, maybe the hardest hit ball in the inning. Got Prince Fielder second and third, 1 out, but infield hit and a walk.
Batting in the 8th position.
3 walks in the inning, 1 intentional.
Number 2, Leonis Martin.
So here's Leonis Martin. Martin, 323, a homer, 9 RBIs for the young center fielder. Slider for a strike to Martin.
Same pitch he threw Prince Fielder that he lifted up in the infield, but Martin at least did not swing at it. And I think a lot of times if a hitter swings at a first pitch curveball, he's helping the pitcher, as Prince Fielder did.
This one's popped up. Jaso is going to have a play into the on-deck circle, and he makes the catch. Side retired. So long inning. 2-0 Rangers after a half inning. lead off, followed by Lowry, Donaldson, Moss, Cespedes, Callaspo, Jaso, Reddick, and Sogard.
And the right-hander Nick Martinez making just his second major league start. First one was against the Tampa Bay Rays, and that's really all the A's have to go on, those numbers and what Adam Roden has been able to acquire as far as the video on the young right-hander. But making the start, of course, the first against the Athletics, and he's got 2 runs on the board before he even takes the mound to pitch to his first A's hitter.
All right, let's look at the Rangers defense. For no Chu, it's Choice in left field, Martin in center, Rios in right. Now it's Kuzmanov, Andrus, Wilson in fielder, with Chirinos again doing the catching. So there's your Rangers defense. Nick Martinez has finished his warm-up tosses. So Michael Choice out in left field, and Ray Shin-Soo Chu, of course, hit the bag kind of funny at first base last night, and he is not in the lineup tonight, and it sounds like there may be some concern at
because when you hit the bag as hard as he did, and they, of course, doing the MRI, and not on the disabled list, but some question as to whether or how soon he will be able to play. But a big piece of the Rangers right now, and of course Beltre on the disabled list already. Chu would make it even worse.
Yeah, it has been a battle against the injuries for the Rangers this year. So Nick Martinez, the 23-year-old right-hander, facing the Athletics tonight. A little bit outside. Martinez. No, call the strike. Oh, boy. That's hard to believe. I didn't even think that would be called a strike.
Well, it doesn't make it look very good, because Coco has been in center field watching the tight strike zone from Adrian Johnson, and then has a pitch that, as we just showed with the high home camera, that was floating outside.
Setting up outside again, and that one is just a bit low. 1-2 to count. 324 with a couple of home runs and 6 RBIs for Coco Crisp. Three for 4 with a couple of RBIs. Anderson bundled up again tonight. That's hit hard, but right at the second baseman, Josh Wilson. And that's out number 1. So this was the play last night with Shin-Soo Chu, and it watches the ankle.
Second position, shortstop.
It's the bag hard with his right foot, or left foot, and it was the challenge play, and Chu had to leave the game. Washington said the pain kind of radiated up in the upper part of his high ankle strain, or high almost into the calf.
So I'm sure that there's concern. The Rangers organization don't want to lose that guy. 2-0 to Lowry. Lowry hitting .270, couple of home runs, 7 RBIs. Lowry was 0 for 3 with a pair of walks last night. Fouled straight back. There's not a lot of room on the Rangers disabled list right now. It's full. Profar, Soto, Beltre, Aducci, Harrison, Saunders, Holland, Shepherds, Ortiz. There's some very important players on that list. Beltre at the top. So if you're the Rangers, you're saying just do the best we can until we get everybody back, and most of those guys will be back at some point.
You just have some high-priced cheerleaders.
Yes, that is true. 2 pitches hit high and foul down the left field line.
Martinez, a 4+ pitcher as far as pitches, and got a couple of different fastballs, but doesn't really top out higher than 92, 93. High low to Florida.
18th round pick in 2011. That one's drilled to right center field, and nobody's going to get it. Bangs off the wall. Rios grabs it, gets it back in, and Lowry has a double. So double number 6 for Lowry.
position, third baseman.
But a good swing
right there.
Yeah, low fastball and crushed it. And great swing by Jed Lowry. And I guess at this part, this time of the night, this is what you have to do. Just try to split the gap. Hope Rios doesn't track it down as he did last night. Covers a lot of ground in right field, but that one hit too hard by Jed Lowry.
So Donaldson will hit, try to get the A's on the board here in the bottom of the first. 271 for Donaldson with 4 home runs and 13 RBIs. 1 for 4 last night with a walk for Donaldson.
It's windy again tonight. Just look at Josh Donaldson with the clear glasses trying to keep the wind out of his eyes. So I did that in Seattle.
Breaking ball right up the middle, base hit. Martin charges. He's got a good arm. The throw to the plate is high, all the way to the backstop. Lowry scores. Donaldson goes down to second. So the A's are on the board. It's 2-1.
What a great camera shot of the curveball, and the ball right back up the middle, just past Martinez. And this is a great shot. Look at this ball coming right at you, and Martinez. You're supposed to put your body in front of it, not try to get out of the way. It's like he was almost hit by a pitch. Now, it's better to get out of the way, but Martin, he's got a strong arm, but sometimes a little erratic, and he shows it off here and overthrows everybody. Really no chance to get Lowry, and I think all Ron Washington, Gary Pettis would want is for their outfielder to hit the cutoff man, keep the runner at first, but Donaldson able to get to second.
Here's Moss, shift on, and the first pitch is a strike.
Well, you cannot overlook, and Mike Gallego definitely had to send Lowry, but he also knows the arm strength of Martin in center.
Taps slowly, left side of the diamond. Kuzmanov throws, and they got it. So bang bang play at first. Moss is called out. Just a little dribbler off the end of the bat by Moss. Chip Hale checking in, see if it's worth taking a look at.
And Kuzmanov the only one on the left side of the infield, and so they're going to hold off. Like, actually, they want the hitter to go up slowly. They don't want a pitch made to him, and he's out. That shot at least shows you that good play by Kuzmanov, and you know it's almost like a bunt, but for Moss, unfortunately, ball too close or maybe hit too hard for Kuzmanov to be able to handle it.
So Cespedes hits with a runner at third, now 2 outs. And that one was low, I believe.
Maybe it had too much of the plate.
Man,
that's a great. I mean, if you're a pitcher, you throw that kind of a curveball, you want it to be called a strike because the hitter's probably not going to swing, and he didn't, and it wasn't called a strike.
And that one hit to left. Choice on the move, not going to get it. Run's going to score. Cespedes digging for second, and he's going to make it with a double, and we're tied at 2.
Martinez missed with the first breaking ball. Mike Maddox is going to visit him and try to settle down the youngster. Had a 2-0 lead. Now it's tied. Yoenis Cespedes got another breaking ball. Watch how he just reaches down and one hands the ball down the left field corner. And there's some strength of Yoenis Cespedes. A little bit towards the end of the bat, but the breaking ball, he did back up another one. And once he got past Choice, an easy double for Cespedes. And it looked like he was going to try to catch the ball, but it just kept hooking away from him.
So Cespedes gets his 14th RBI.
Nothing bigger than a 2-out ribby. Cayespo will try to do the same thing. You know, we saw last night with you, Darvish, using more fastballs.
Yeah.
I asked Cayespo about it. He said, I should have hit it. He had the 2-strike, got the fastball that he swung through with second and third in 1 out. But a lot of the hitters were thinking off speed because Darvish normally throws a lot of those curveball splits, but Espo, who more times than not will at least make contact on a 2-strike pitch. Swung through the fastball. Maybe just late enough, surprised enough that he got the hit.
That one drops low, 2-0. Well, the A's will be in Arlington Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Imagine Darvish will pitch over the weekend. The A's may not see Darvish.
Well, if he stays on turn, they have an off day Thursday. If he stays on turn, it would be Saturday, if not Sunday. So chances are that would be the case.
Choice is over there, and he reaches up to make the catch. So the A's get a couple of runs on 3 hits, including a pair of doubles. So after 1, we're tied at 2.
Hey everyone, I'd like you to meet Paul and Renee. They are my lucky Overstock.com fans of the game. If it's in, these guys win. What I mean by that is if an A's
Cool night in the Bay Area. And lots of runs scored early. 2-2 after 1 inning. Cespedes with the 2-out RBI double. So Tommy Milone, who had a rough first inning, tight strike zone. He faced 8 hitters. He walked 3, gave up a couple of hits. So he needs a quick inning after 31 pitches in that first. Facing Josh Wilson, who's playing second base.
Says a lot about the confidence Ron Washington has in Donnie Murphy. Is Murphy started at second, Wilson goes in there and he puts him in the DH spot. Of course, if his DHs are playing, that's about all he can do.
Yeah.
The rest of them are on the either on the disabled list or unable to play.
Little pop up toward left. Cespedes is under it. And Wilson is retired for out number 1. So back to the top of the order, Michael Choice, who walked and scored in that first inning.
Now batting, number 15.
So Tommy Milone kind of sigh of relief, and maybe just that it's a new game. It's a very tough first inning and maybe a tight strike zone that upset him, and sees his club score a couple of runs right back to where he started. Top of the first inning.
Inside to Michael Choice. Choice got his first major league hit with the Athletics last year. It was in September, early September, and it was against the Texas Rangers. It was not in Arlington, though. It was right here at the Coliseum. Fastball just a touch high. 2-1. Andrus to follow here in the second inning. Missed again. 3-1. Tommy Milone walked a total of 2 in his first 2 starts. He walked 3 in the first inning. Choice. Good swing. Foul ball. Full count.
And really not a bad idea. Just challenge him and went to the 3-2 count in his first at bat last inning, and from a changeup that he took. Wasn't even close. This is a fastball that off the face mask. John Jason. That's why Adrian Johnson walked out in front to throw the ball back.
3-2 to Choice. Changeup, and Choice took it, and he's got his second walk.
We talked about Yu Darvish last night throwing more fastballs when maybe the hitter's thinking off speed. And the way the Rangers are taking the changeup from Tommy Milone, it's almost as if they figure he's going to be throwing the changeup in those counts, and they're a little bit less reluctant to swing. And Darvish last night, 116 pitches. The most impressive thing about him, his fastball was about 93, 94 at about 110 pitches. So he had the fastball, but maybe used it a little bit more than what he had against the A's.
Inside to Elvis Andrus. Well, it certainly seemed like it anyways, that he threw fewer curveballs last year, or fewer curveballs last night compared to last year. Andrus shoots one towards Sogard, who gobbles it up, out at second, on to first, double play. 4-6-3, A's turn it. Bottom of the second, coming up, tied at 2. The Rangers 59-25. The A's very good at 53-36 within their own division. Well, last year the Rangers went 17-2 against Houston and 15-4 against the Angels. A's won the series against the Rangers 10-9. And the Rangers just beat up on the Astros and the Angels last year.
As you mentioned, the 4-game season finales at the ballpark. That should be an interesting series. At least there have been times when the Rangers have clinched the division when the A's were in town. It was Johnny Oates. Late Johnny Oates was managing late 90s. That's when they started to get good.
Series note from last year, as we said, 10-9. He's won 6 of the last 8. This has been a fun series between these two teams over the years, as Jaso has a leadoff walk.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is now available. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit athletics.com for details. I don't think it will get any better than what happened in 2012, the final 3 games of the regular season. I mean, to clinch the wild card on Monday and then win out and then win the division, the final game of the series, the season. Just a phenomenal run by the Athletics in 2012.
Yeah, don't know if you'll ever have an ending like that again. You may, but it may be a while. Reddick was showing bunt anyways, and the count 1-1. Jaso aboard with the leadoff walk. Sogard to follow.
Great confidence boost for the Athletics to be down by 2 before they hit, but then to get 2 back quickly and make it the game even starting the second.
Reddick hitting 196 with a homer and 4 RBIs. He hits that one hard into right field, the base hit. So first and second, nobody out.
Boy, he tacked it, and Jaso at second, but gosh, Reddick just loaded up and kind of sinking away from him a little bit. Hole between first and second. And then again, ideal when you have a runner at first, the first baseman holding him, the second baseman close to second, no way to really utilize a shift. There's the hole again. We'll see if Sogard tries to hit the hole or maybe drop a bunt down, because it's like the Rangers are thinking sacrifice. And not surprised, because Ron Washington sacrifices more than anybody.
Yes, he does.
As he proved last night with his power hitting Mitch Moreland.
Sogard to bunt, and he lays it down perfectly. Kuzma on bare hands throws in time. Well, you want to see good bunting technique? Take a look at that bunt by Eric Sogard. Just laid it out there nice and soft.
Oh, what a great bunt, and sacrifice, making sure that Kuzma fielded the ball. There was no chance for him to go back to third. He had to make sure he got the out, and Kuzma made a nice play, but you won't find a better sacrifice bunt than Eric Sogard there. And even when he squared around, Kuzma didn't start charging in. He kind of waited until Sogard put the ball down. And maybe he was thinking that if the pitcher could field the ball, he could hustle back to third. Sogard took all that away from him.
Second and third, a 1-out infield in for Coco Crisp. First pitch, fastball outside from Nick Martinez. Six sacrifice bunts last year for Sogard. Sets it up nicely here in the second inning. Curveball is high, 2-0.
Here's your defense, as you mentioned last night, and first, second, third on the grass. Shortstop Elvis Andrus back. Never seen that. It's either all in or all back, but not one back. No force at second, so I think if the ball is hit to Andrus on the ground, I don't know why it would not be in on the grass to take care of any possibility of play at the plate.
So now 3-0 with Lowry in the on-deck circle.
Andrus is not going to pitch to him.
Misses outside, so indeed Martinez almost looked like he was pitching around Coco Crisp. It's second walk in the inning.
A changeup, the ball just kept floating away, and Coco took it like he knew it was coming and maybe recognized the pitch. See Spider-Man at the lower. Scary. I thought there was a bird or something. It ended up being Spider-Man.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Wow. There's the Ultimate Warrior.
That's right.
Spider-Man. That's a good one, Dylan.
No big meeting on the mound comes to an end.
Early in the game last night, the A's had similar opportunities, did not take advantage of them. And again tonight, Lowry with a double to start the scoring in the first inning. Would like to do that and clear the bases. But now the infield, everybody will play back. Try to get the ball elevated.
Lowry doubled and scored in the first inning. Not close. Tried to spin a breaking ball up there. Missed badly. 1-0.
I think if there's ever a time for a pitcher to find some way to stick him on his fingers,
this would be it.
Yeah, because a little breezy and circle changeup grip. Thumb and index fingers forming a circle. And of course, he starts that way. Whether or not he throws, it's a different story.
Inside, missed badly that way. 2-0.
Yeah, with the breeze and the coolness, the ball gets very slippery.
Last night, the A's were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. A couple of big hits already tonight. Two-0 pitch, low. 3-0.
He's into it.
Yes, he is. The 3-0 pitch is on the inside corner, first strike. Donaldson. Oh, he's looking at those RBIs out there.
He loves them.
Yeah. Swing by Lowry, and now full count with 1 out.
Come behind 3-0, and then back-to-back four-seam fastballs. One called, one, and a nice swing.
A deep breath by Lowry. Jaso at third, Reddick at second, Crisp at first.
That was a deeper breath by Melvin.
3-2 pitch is lined, and it's foul. It hit Larry Vanover, and he was in foul territory when it hit him. So that's how close that was.
That was also ball 4. It was down, but Jed Lowry hit a double on a 3-2 pitch, and Larry Vanover tried to get out of the way, but got him in the right shin. He'll be wearing the shin guards tomorrow, but not tonight.
He's all right.
Not going to rub it.
Dude.
Might be screaming under his breath, but he's not going to rub it.
Wish he had that shin guard on tonight. So we'll do it again. 3-2 with the bases loaded. Outfield shallow and shifted into right center. Is hit hard again down the right field line. Ty Waller had it. Dance get out of the way a little bit.
Jed Lowry's gotten 4 consecutive fastballs after getting to count 3-0. And he has to swing like he believes he's going to get another one every time he gets a pitch, because he's actually either very quick or Martinez not putting a lot on the pitch.
Martin now coming in, still coming in. He's got it. Jaso's tagging. He's coming to the plate. And the throw, the tag, and they got him. Leonis Martin has a very good arm. They're checking with John Jaso if he thinks that maybe he got in there. And I don't think Bob Melvin heard what he was hoping to hear from Jaso. And so the out, and that's a double play, and the A's somehow do not score.
Tagged Jaso before he could touch the plate. It was a good call by Adrian Johnson, and unfortunately the ball not deep enough. Wasn't a fake. He was running all the way and had to go straight in because actually he couldn't go around because Chernos had to catch the ball up the line. Catches it, goes back, and
he didn't tag him a lot.
No.
Line drive by Rios, and that's a base hit. See if we can see where the tag was applied. May have been up by the helmet.
Yeah, well, right there, he got in the arm before his foot touched the plate.
Prince Fielder.
John Jaso did not really argue. Dugout asked him as he went into the dugout. So leadoff man aboard. Here's Prince Fielder. Third hit for the Rangers. Tommy Malone has walked 4. Does not have a strikeout. 14 outfield assists last year for Leonis Martin. That's being a difference maker in the outfield. That's a base hit to right center field. Rios rounds the bag at second, and he'll make it easily to third. And the Rangers have first and third with nobody out.
And again, the A's should have been taking the field with the lead, but it's tied, and this quickly after a breaking ball to Prince Fielder misses. He's trying to hit it 9 miles on the fastball, but they follow through it. It's a base hit to right center.
So Kuzminov steps in. RBI opportunity for Kuzminov, who walked in the first inning. 2 for 5 last night. Inside, and it's 1-0. Donnie Murphy will be next. Lots of base runners in the early part of this game. Kuzminov, he got one to hit there, 84 miles an hour. And he fouls it back. Watch where this pitch is.
Looked like he was thinking opposite field like he did last night.
Two and one now to Kuzminov. So a 31 pitch first inning for Tommy Milone. He now has 51.
Big double play helped him throw just 12 pitches in the second. Take a double play right now, even though they give up a run.
One pitch is hit just foul. So the count now even at 2-2. Rios at third. Prince Fielder, who's getting a very short lead at first.
Well, now get the strikeout, then the double play. That'd be the best case. Have a lot of frustrated hitters.
Breaking ball blocked nicely by Jaso, so full count.
Two good blocks already for John Jaso. Just like to get better results. And it's a curveball. I know that Prince Fielder would be running. He does it simply to maybe try to stay out of a double play.
He runs late. The ball's bounced toward Donaldson, who flips to second for one. On to first, a double play. So even with Prince Fielder running, the A's still turn the double play. Rios comes in to score. So it's 3-2 and now 2 outs.
But because the left-handed pitcher, Prince Fielder, look at the short lead, so he got a late jump, and Josh Donaldson, a great job. Sogard coming across the bag. And so they were able to turn the 5-4-3. But if Prince Fielder has any kind of a lead and a better jump and can get to second quicker, they have no chance to turn 2, but able to do it, give up the run, and get 2 outs.
So no RBI for Kuzminov. And Donnie Murphy hits. That's a good changeup right there by Milone. I've not seen quite as many good changeups tonight from Tommy Milone, but this is a good one.
Well, what's happened so far, this is more down the middle. He's been throwing them to the outside part of the plate because their changeups are floating away and off the plate. And the hitters aren't that tempted to swing at them, especially Michael Choice.
That one is lined toward Coco, and he'll play it on a hop. So Donnie Murphy is 2 for 2. He had a big hit last night, knocked in the go-ahead run.
84 miles per hour, stayed on it.
Now batting, number 61.
Pretty good hitter's speed.
Carino.
Stay back thinking, change up, which he just swung and missed. Gets an 84 mile an hour, maybe kind of a BP fastball, maybe a two-seam fastball. Didn't have the sinking action on it.
So 3 hits in the inning, 5 hits in the game for Texas. Chirino steps in. Fastball strike in the outside corner to Chirinos, who walked with the bases loaded in the first to pick up his 6th RBI. Chirinos in the starting lineup for the second night in a row. Could see Aaron Sebia tomorrow afternoon. The problem for Aaron Sebia is he's just in a massive slump. 1 for his last 28. Trinos starting for the second night in a row. Say one thing about this game so far, Ray. We're talking a lot about Malone and a lot of pitches, but Rangers have had some pretty good at bats.
Yes, they have.
They're laying off pitches that you see a lot of guys swing at with Malone. Not so tonight with these Rangers.
Pretty good scout report, and they're staying true to form and probably thinking change up from Tommy Malone, and they're not offering it.
Foul tipped. So 1-2 to Chirinos. Popped up foul territory. Donaldson and Jaso over, but it's going to head into the seats just a couple of rows back. So 61 pitches now for Malone.
Pace of the game is great tonight.
It's a good pace.
Right
yes,
along.
it is. Forget time of game. Pace of game. That's the one that counts.
And that's what they've been talking about, right? The pace of the game. And the pace of the game will create a better time of game.
Well, they sort of go hand in hand, but sometimes you can have a longer game that can have a nice pace to it. Line foul. This season, the A's are averaging 3 hours and 16 minutes. 11 minutes longer than last year per game. So they're on pace to break the record for average time of game in a season. Swing and a miss. So
time somebody swung the strike.
Time of game. Rangers get a run. They lead 3-2. home run milestone. So congratulations to Albert Pujols. He needed 2 tonight, and he got them both at Washington in the Angels' 7-2 win over the Nationals. So Albert Pujols becomes the 26th member of that very exclusive club. Up next, Eddie Murray. So Albert Pujols, 8 home runs this year and swinging the bat well. He looks much healthier this year. So
Well,
again, congratulations.
Start to the numbers. He has 7 years remaining counting this year on his contract, or 8 years actually counting this year. And do some math then.
No, you're right. He's 34 years old and he's going to be able to DH.
Yep.
So, yeah, you're right. I mean, even if you hit, I mean, okay, let's just, for fun, you got 7 more years left after this year. Let's say you average 20 a year. Well, that's 140. Well, now you're, 640. So you'd have to average probably almost 25 or 30 home runs a year over that period. But he's going to still play for a while, and he's going to keep hitting. Donaldson hits one high to right field, but room for Rios as he goes back. He's under it, and Donaldson is retired. So the 26 members of that club, and it's still a very exclusive club, 500 home runs. So a note today, Ray, 10 players have reached the 500 home run mark since 2000.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. 2000, so you're 14 years, 10 players in 14 years. So it's still exclusive. In the air, left center. Choice goes back, couple steps in front of the warning track. He's got it.
Barney's proud sponsor of the Oakland Athletics. The next time you're headed to the A's game, save yourself the hassle of traffic and parking. Take Bart, and you're there, right outside the Coliseum exit, as a matter of fact. Big Mac, right in the middle of Cespedes and whoever else that was. 89 World Championship team. Mark McGuire part of that championship team. The last one the A's won.
Cespedes with a 2-out RBI double in the first inning that tied the game at 2.
Well, last night the A's scored their 3 runs and had other opportunities, but shut it down, didn't score any more. Cespedes crushed the ball, thought he had a home run, which would have been a 2-run shot.
Anders has it, straightens up, throws in time. So Nick Martinez has a 3-up, 3-down, 6-pitch bottom of the 3rd. 3-2 Rangers as we head to the 4th. Leonis Martin to lead it off. Martin tries to drag bunt, fouls it right back to the screen. Martin, Wilson, and then the top of the order, Michael Choice. Hey, we're turning our Scorebug logo green in support of NBC Universal's company-wide initiative to promote green every day, energy-efficient living this Earth Week. Sogard on the backhand, gets up, throws to first. Got him! Oh my goodness, what a play. Ron Washington's walking out. He's going to have a chat with Larry Vanover.
Tim Bogart on the phone to the clubhouse and see about a thumbs up, thumbs down. Great play by Sogard, especially with the speed of Martin. And Martin called himself safe. Larry Vanover said no, so Ron Washington looking in to see if it's conclusive. He jumped to the bag just like Chu did last night. But Sogard, we've seen him do this many times, and Ron Washington did not get a definitive answer, so he's not going to challenge it, looks like. And excellent play by Sogard and a stretch by Moss, and ball and glove.
12,
foot
Wilson.
just barely. See, the toe hit the bag, so it's probably, you know, similar to last night, because that was not conclusive.
I'm still surprised they changed the call.
I am too.
Last night.
And you know, I was talking.
Glad they did, but
yeah,
I'm surprised.
I'm glad they did too, because it at least gave Bob Melvin a chance to win one.
But you're right, that was very similar.
Yeah. But you can see the ball going into the glove, but where's his foot? And it is bang bang. Larry Vanover, as long as he was not watching Martin, made the call.
Coco in the right center. He's got it. Wilson's retired. So 2 quick outs. Okay.
Yep.
Ball and glove.
Now batting.
There he's out.
15,
And that one.
Michael Choice.
So top of the order, Michael Choice. Choice has walked twice out of that leadoff spot. And takes a pitch on the inside corner call to strike. And Malone grabs it, and Tommy Malone is going to get his easy inning. 6-pitch inning, 3 up, 3 down, and the bottom of the 4th is coming up. Cayaspo, Jaso, and Reddick. A's trailing 3-2.
Ticket in a private seating area. For more information, call 510-638-GO-A's or visit athletics.com/BBQ.
First pitch to Caspo is in for a strike. The changes for the Rangers. We'll tell you what those are in just a moment. Quick 0-2 to Berto Caspo. The new first baseman, or the new third baseman, is Josh Wilson. He goes to third from second, and Luis Sardinas, the youngster, comes in at second base. That means Kevin Kuzminoff is the guy who's out. Kevin Kuzminoff. Don't know the reason just yet. When we hear it, we'll pass it on.
Made some pretty good plays at third, but on the bunt, throwing from underneath, and Moss's ball. You never know these days.
Right field, Rios. Now he has to hustle in. He makes the catch. So Caspo is retired. Back tightness is the reason Kevin Kuzminoff left the game.
Batting the catcher, number 5.
Tell you what, when you carry a club, your back gets sore, man.
Yeah, he has been. You're right. So the injuries just continue for the Texas Rangers. Jaso takes low. Jaso walked in the second inning. Now 1-1 now to Jaso with Reddick in the on-deck circle. Changeup, and it's 1-2.
Changeup just came back very quickly to the inside part of the plate.
Five in a row retired by Martinez.
And they let him off the hook in the second inning. 4-pitch walk to Chris. Got to 3-0 to Lowry. Next thing you know, it's a double play.
Diving is Sardinas. He can't get it. So Jaso has a hit. So hit number 5 for the A's.
That hole between first and second, it's amazing. The hits already tonight's gone in that direction.
Josh Reddick.
So here's Reddick. Reddick had a base hit in the second inning. Curveball is outside to Reddick. Reddick 8 hits in his last 16 at bats, trying to get rolling. And now 2-0.
32 home runs in 2012. These are the counts that Josh Reddick is thinking about a pitch in his location. We saw him unload over the weekend. Had a big weekend against Houston, hitting his first home run and of course the walk-off. But his home run just zoned in, got the pitch, and didn't miss it.
See what he's zoning in on 2-0. And there's a strike outside corner.
That was a pitcher's pitch that it took, but not this one. And Cosar did not make it out of the first inning. It was a 3-run home run, a 2-run home run in the half inning. He scored 7.
Jaso with a good lead at first. That one's tapped toward third, and it's booted by Wilson. It rolls past him, and that's going to allow the A's to have runners at second and third. It was just a little tapper, and Wilson just missed it.
He was going to have to charge, which he did, to try to get Reddick because he was back a little bit, but the ball stayed down. He came up, and not only that, Joyce could not get to it quickly enough. Great hustle by both the hitter, Reddick. And when he came up, instead of staying down, the ball scooted under his glove and maybe slowed it down a little bit. But Jason hustling and then realized, hey, get to third base, and Reddick was right behind him. And no chance for Michael Joyce to do anything except just get the ball back in. So a break for the A's. Can they capitalize?
So to be Sogard with an opportunity, second and third, one out.
Now batting second baseman, number 28.
Sogard had a sacrifice bunt in the second inning. Trying to get an RBI here in the fourth. First pitch is a strike. Wilson, the third baseman, is on the cut of the grass. The other three infielders are playing pretty much their normal position.
Got a first pitch changeup for Sogard.
Martine's going to have to hustle back, still going back, and he's got it. It's going to be plenty deep for a sacrifice fly, and this game is tied at 3. So Sogard gets the RBI and a good at bat.
With an outfielder with a strong arm, you see him start to backpedal. That's a good sign. Playing shallow because Sogard was the hitter, but Sogi proved that, yeah, he can hit it far enough, and he does. Got the high fastball after a changeup. And Sogi put it all together and easily tagging and scoring his J-So, and even Reddick was able to get the third. Take it. Third run batted in for Eric Sogard, a big one to tie the game.
So the top of the order in Coco. He's got a 2-out hit in the first to not get a run. That was by Cespedes. They'll try to do it again here in the fourth.
Pitch carefully to Coco in the second inning. Walked him on 4 pitches and should throw him a changeup on the 3-0 count. That's respect.
Two 2-0 pitch to Coco right there with a fastball, 2-1. Coco. Like he was taken on 2-0.
Ron Washington very complimentary of Coco Crisp last night when he the 2-run single to left field on what Wash described as a pretty good pitch from Yu Darvish. It's after Coco pulled the ball just foul down the right field line, then hit an opposite field base hit, driving in 2.
Pitch is lined. Rios coming in, and he can't get it. And the A's take the lead. Coco digging for 2, and he is going to make it. So Reddick scores, and it's 4-3.
Got a bad play by Rios to try to take away a base hit. Run batted in. But Coco Crisp on the 2-1 little sinking fastball. Drove it, sinking line drive. That's the key. And he was running, thinking that Rios might do exactly what he did. Charged, bobbled the ball, actually kicked it away from him. And Leonis Martinez backing up, actually had it in his glove, could not close it to at least contain it, but Coco just kept running.
So Coco at second, and here's Lowry. Side. So give Coco a double. His first double this year. He's now got 7 RBIs.
Two doubles, 22 home runs for Coco last year. Martinez looking towards Lowry before he threw the first pitch. A long time, and this time Coco darted towards third, and Martinez looked back. Nobody really holding him with 2 outs.
That's low, and now 2-0. So Martinez just falling behind hitters on a regular basis.
6-pitch third inning, and struggles in this half inning, although the error by Wilson just contributed greatly for the Athletics. So moving those positions mid-game, well, it just sometimes affects guys.
More action for Martin as he hustles back, but he's going to get there. He's got it side retired, so a costly error by the Rangers. A's scored twice, and it's 4-3 Athletics after 4. Year, and she's sporting. Why not? So it's the 5th inning, and the A's now with a 4-3 lead, thanks to the 2 spot in the bottom of the 4th. Andrus Rios fielder, so the heart of the order for Texas.
Tommy Malone matched Martinez with 6-pitch 4th inning. Martinez said in the 3rd, Tommy the 4th. He'd like to duplicate it, get a shutdown inning, especially after his club has taken the lead with a couple of unearned runs. A lot of happiness in the Ranger dugout after the double play in the 2nd, but not so much now with the error to allow the runs to score, at least to get in position to score.
Both those runs should be unearned.
Yeah, correct. They are. Take them.
There's strike 2 and 2 to Andrus.
See what Andrus is wearing on his left shin. That's a protection after banging the ball off the shin in the 1st inning before he singled.
Donaldson scoops it, throws across, 1 out.
See, there's the short hop. Donaldson stayed down on it, and that's the difference. It was a slower hit ball that Reddick hit to Wilson that he charged and came up, but gosh, Reddick has some great hands and at times scooped it and made an easy throw to first base or a big out. Hey, he plays third base so well considering he was a catcher. And I don't know that you could remember as much playing third base in college and moved to the professional ranks as a catcher and then right back to excelling at third.
First pitch, Rios pops it up. Sogard has it. So 2 outs. So true story brought to you by McDonald's. How about the Prince Fielder timeline? Big Daddy's father, of course. Drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers. Had a 50 home run season in Milwaukee. Traded to Detroit. Or signed as a free agent in Detroit, I should say. And then a couple years with the Tigers. Traded to the Texas Rangers. Of course, you always hear the great stories about Prince Fielder when he was, what, 10, 11-year-old, taking batting practice at Tiger Stadium and hitting them out on a regular basis, just like his dad.
On the display he put on, was it at Miller Park, the All-Star game, the home run derby? Because one of them, I just remember just a.
Yeah, it wasn't Miller Park. I'm trying to think.
It had been probably too early. Yeah, too early. But the show he put on was unbelievable.
Lifted separate.
Oh, I mean, he lifted and separated just like when he hit the single last at bat.
And that one's driven to center. Coco's going back. He's near the wall, and he makes the catch right in front of the 400-foot side. So 7 in a row retired by Tommy Milone. He's got a 4-3 lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Three. Donaldson steps in against the youngster Nick Martinez, making just his 2nd major league start. He's been a little wobbly. Hasn't struck anybody out. He's given up 6 hits in 4 innings. He's walked a couple. Defense hurt him last inning.
Well, we talked about on our open about Tommy Milone, the bad luck pitcher that he has been, the unearned runs that have scored with him pitching, and it's reversal at least to this point with the Rangers making the big error to allow a couple of runs to score.
Fastball is inside to Donaldson. Donaldson with an RBI single in the 1st. He also scored in that inning, and then he hit a fly ball to right field in the 3rd. Setting up inside again to Donaldson. He gets jammed. A little fister into foul territory, and Prince Fielder has it. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's time for our Lows Never Stop Improving, and it's Brandon Moss. 8 major league seasons. Originally Boston, then Pittsburgh, a little bit of time in Philadelphia, and he just never put it all together. And finally, he did with the Athletics. They're pretty happy with it. Remember when he was a youngster with the Boston Red Sox?
Houston Street remembers him in Tokyo.
That's right.
I think all Brandon Moss has done is improve and made himself a major league quality player, to the point that he has a lot of former teams, scouts and front office people scratching their heads saying, wait a minute, we had him, what happened? Because he didn't do that here. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for a player to mature, and how about that? Yeah, fastball's inside. He keeps, it's a four seam. It's not really running that much when he throws inside to the lefties. Martinez throws the changeup.
Breaking ball is outside. Remember Moss, when he went from the Red Sox to the Pirates, Ray, that was part of the 3-team deal with Manny Ramirez. Jason Bay ended up with the Red Sox. In fact, I want to say we were in Boston when they made that trade.
Right.
Or soon, I think it was
game?
Bay's first game. Yeah.
Right.
They had, Red Sox had pretty much had it with Manny Ramirez, and it ended up, Moss ended up with the Pirates. Swing and a miss. Chased a pitch a little bit outside. That's the first strikeout for Nick Martinez.
Well, Brandon Moss, with the hitting coach who was at Pittsburgh, really helped him, and ever since then, getting with Chili Davis helped him even more. Fastball maybe reached for a pitch out of the strike zone, kept running, and ran into it. Yeah, he will strike out, but he'll also drive the ball, play solid first base.
Well, he always had good years in the minor leagues. He just could never shift it to the major leagues until he got with the A's. Cespedes takes a strike. And maybe there's something to, Moss has said it, the organizations at times tried to change his approach a little bit. The A's said, just swing, let it rip.
That's what Chili Davis said. You're not an opposite field singles hitter. You're a pull hitter, and you hit home runs. And 30 last year as a platoon player. Off to a good start again this season.
Two and one to Cespedes. Good breaking ball. 2-2 right on the outside corner.
Well, good breaking ball. Looks like it had the plate, just a matter of the height, and Adrian Johnson liked it. See, he called that one, but there's some pitches that Tommy Malone has thrown similarly that it looks like the catcher's caught them low, but in the case of Jair, was catching the ball was low, but crosses the plate in the strike zone, as that curveball did.
Cespedes did not go around as they checked with Larry Vanover. Adrian Johnson immediately referred to the first base umpire. Watch how quick the home plate umpire checks with first.
And he said, I don't want it. Tell me, help me. And that's a smart home plate umpire, to not put it on himself to try to watch the ball and the bat.
And a close pitch and a 2-out walk. So Cespedes is on base. Here's Callaspo.
Number 18, Alberto Callaspo.
Callaspo, fly ball to the left and a fly ball to the right. He has finally started to cool down. He's now 0 for his last 9 and 3 for his last 20. Could not stay as hot as he was, that's for sure. The A's looking for a little 2-out rally. Certainly seen Cespedes have the ability to steal a bag, but the right heel is a little bit sore. careful with that.
Yeah, and that's just the fact that he's on the lineup. Did pinch hit last night, almost hit a pinch hit home run, stayed in the game.
And that one is a bit outside, so 2-1. 23 career stolen bases. So I wouldn't say he's straight on steal guy, but he can get you one if you need one. You've seen that.
Well, I remember his first year as an afternoon game, he injured his hamstring rounding second base, and everybody very concerned. But unfortunately, or fortunately for him, it did not take him that long to get well. He has great speed, just to question his ability to steal bases, but I don't think they want to take a chance of him getting injured by trying to steal a base, especially if the heel is bothering.
Strike 2-2 to Callaspo. Alberto didn't like it.
Wow. It's amazing how the strike zone from Johnson has changed from the first inning. Tommy Malone might only have about 40 pitches.
Maybe throw it a no-hitter.
Yeah, 31 in the first inning, and I think you said it best when Tommy shows his disgust, his displeasure of the strike zone. I mean, that says a lot.
Curveball's outside, so now it'll be Cespedes on the move. 3-2, 2 outs. Aaron Pareda, who was up a couple times last night but did not get in the game, he's up again tonight. Cespedes will get that good speed moving. There he goes, and the pitch is fouled out. The A's with 2 in the first and 2 in the fourth. Texas with 2 in the first, 1 in the third. And we'll do 3-2 again. There goes, and it's popped up. Shallow left. Choice calls off Andrus. Side retired. A's strand a runner. 6th inning coming up. 4-3. A's lead the Rangers. Brought to you by Real Strong Redwood. Learn more at realstrongredwood.com. Beautiful look at the the new Bay Bridge, which is pretty sharp. 4-3, the A's lead the Rangers, and it's the 6th inning. So here's our first look at Luis Sardinas, youngster who the Rangers are very high on. He's a switch hitter, infielder. He's hitting at Kuzmanov's spot. Kuzmanov left the game with a bad back, and Sardinas hit by pitch. So a base runner leading off the 6th inning, and that breaks the stretch of 7 in a row retired by Tommy Milone.
Yeah, Marv Melvin's coming out, and because John Jaso must have said something. See if it does hit him. Check the knob of the bat. That's the knob of the bat. That did not hit him. That's the knob of the bat. And listen, if he get hit in the hand, he's going to react more than he does with this one. If it hits in the knob of the bat, he's just getting out of the way. Check the knob of the bat right on the end. It's a great camera shot. That is not a hit batter.
Okay, see, and I agree with you, Ray. The problem is that conclusive?
Well, the problem, well, watch.
Right? I mean,
yeah, I know, but
I understand what you're saying.
But watch him.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
If you have to change that call,
yeah,
that's a difficult call for a replay umpire.
Donnie Murphy.
Well, I think you're right. I think it hit the knob of the bat.
Well, we have seen hitters get hit in the hand with the hand on the bat, and they react a little bit differently than Sardinas did. And what happened with Adrian Johnson, he heard what we heard in the replay, and that's when he reacted and called it a hit batter.
So here is Donnie Murphy with the leadoff man at first. No, keep the speedy Sardinas over there. Cook gets up. 80 pitches now for Tommy Milone. Runner goes, and it's tapped toward Donaldson. Donaldson will get the out at first. So Ron Washington moving a runner, and it works as they get him into scoring position now with 1 out for Chirinos.
Now batting, number 61.
Yeah, catcher on those types of plays can help, because when you hear something, you immediately say foul ball.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get an umpire to react quickly on what you're saying. I did it once. The hitter broke his hand. But got a foul ball. I mean, that happened a long time ago, but I'll never forget it.
You were trying.
I felt badly, you know.
Playable center field. Sardinas will hustle the third. Chirinos is out, so 2 outs.
And you know, it was in Class A, and you know who it was? Dave Duncan.
Really?
And he broke his hand, but he hit something like 44 home runs.
Would he remember that?
If I remind him.
That's funny.
But it was just one of those instinctive things that it's a foul ball. The umpire goes foul ball, and he reacted like you're supposed to if you get hit in the hand.
Like you would react if you had a broken hand.
That's right.
And he did.
He did, and called it foul and went on the DL. So I was 1 for 1.
Sort of. Here's Martin. And Martin waves at a slider. So Milone gets ahead with a breaking ball. 0-1 the count. Martinez fouled out and grounded out. Swing and a miss. Another breaking ball. 0-2.
And John Jaso starting in spring training with different pitchers. If a hitter has reacted the way Martin has on the curveball slider, he stayed with the same pitch. See if he stays with another one. Maybe try to get him to chase one out of the strike zone.
And they did, and it's lofted to shallow right. Reddick is in. And Malone gets out of it. So the Rangers strand a runner at third. Bottom of the sixth coming up.
Back up the middle, a hanging curveball. Josh Donaldson bringing home. Jed Lowry, Donaldson getting to third, and then Cespedes with a ringing double down the left field line. Back-to-back breaking balls. He handled this one down in the corner. Coco Crisp. How about this one that Rios tried to make a play, could not. That gave the A's the lead. Coco going into second base. But good night for the A's players. Executing, sacrificing, coming through with the hits with 2 outs, and they have 2 of them tonight.
Number 36, Derek Norris.
So Coco hopes to get an at-bat in this inning. Derek Norris is going to pinch hit for Jaso. So Jaso will walk in a single. And he's done for the night, and here's Norris. Now the reason Norris is hitting is there's a left-hander on Aaron Pareda. So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. So Bay Area guy Aaron Pareda, born in Walnut Creek, went to Capilano High School in Moraga, pitched at the University of San Francisco, and now lives in Pleasanton. How's that? He loves the Bay Area.
Already learned how to throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. From a lefty, he's supposed to be a two-seamer.
Line for Nick Martinez. 4 runs, 2 earned runs in 5 innings for the youngster.
Got out of some jams and had a lot of pitches and a lot of the 3-ball count variety. 3-1 and 3-2 counts. He got his pitch count up to 92 and had to leave after the 5 innings. So I'm sure Ron Washington, Mike Maddox happy with his performance.
1-2 to Norris. And a slider is inside. Pareda was a first-round draft pick of the Chicago White Sox back in 2007. Good size, 6'6", 240. So if you're a lefty and you throw 93, 94 miles an hour, you got a chance to pitch a while. But Pareda has been in the big league shortly with those White Sox in 09, and then the Padres for just a little bit in 09 as well. Not since then. And that one's lined to left. Racing back, and it's off the wall. Choice chases after it, and Norris has a pinch hit double.
I was thinking as Pareda was throwing that hard fastball around those Chapman last year in Cincinnati when Derek Norris got into a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, hit a home run, one of his 9 against the lefties. That was pinch hit just like this fastball, thrown hard, but once Pareda started to miss, it got the count 3-2. Derek Norris able to unload on the fastball. And Michael Choice went after it like he thought he could catch it, but boy, did it carry him off the wall. And Derek Norris, leadoff double.
So here's Reddick. Reddick, little flare, shallow left. Choice cannot get it. He plays it on a hop. Norris could not advance, so Reddick has a blue pit.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's better to make sure nobody out. And he went down the line thinking that with the speed of Choice he could get to it. He didn't. And I don't know if Derek Norris felt if he goes halfway and he caught the ball, if he could have gotten back. And at that point right there, he thought he was going to catch it and didn't, and decided to get back to the bag. So Sogard has a chance to sacrifice again.
So that's Sean Tollison, the right-hander, starting to get loose. So Norris at second, Reddick at first. Good opportunity for the A's to add on here in the 6th.
Sogard sacrificed as well as he did in his first at bat. Now against the tough lefty, may see him attempt it again.
Corner infielders in. That's Wilson and Fielder. And it's bunted toward third, and they're going to get the out at third. So nicely done by Wilson, the third baseman. And the play that was on had Elvis Andrus, the shortstop, covering third, and that's pretty well executed by the Rangers.
Yeah, that's the old rotation, and Sogard did the best thing. He bunted it, but Wilson knew that his shortstop was going to be there. The ball bunted right to Wilson, which is what Sogard wanted. But it does open up the entire left side of the infield with the rotation. But for the Rangers, they worked perfectly. Wilson this time makes the play.
So Coco will be the hitter. He'll swing around and hit from the right side.
Now batting center fielder, number 4, Coco.
Coco ground out a walk and then a big RBI double with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And that gave the A's the 4-3 lead.
Thinking about Eric Sogard, how difficult when you're facing a pitcher who's left-handed throwing as hard as Pareda does. You just want to get the bunt down. Hindsight, you think about bunting at Prince Fielder, but that's not an easy bunt to do. To try to bunt it towards first base if you're a left-hander facing those mid-90s.
Coco with a big swing. So 0-1 to Crisp. 7 RBIs now for Coco after picking up the one batted in the 4th inning. The Astros are shutting out the Mariners tonight, 3-0 in the 7th inning. So the Mariners continue to struggle big time. Seattle has lost 7 in a row. Slider is inside to Crisp. For Coco, amazingly, this is just his second at bat right-handed. And of course, the A's kept him away from the left-handed pitchers for a little while. With the wrist was bothering him a little bit. It bothered him a bit more when he swung right-handed, but must be feeling better. And now 3-1.
Had a 1-2 count in the first inning, but since then 3-0, 3-1, and now 3-1 again.
That one's hit toward third, out at second, and that's a double play. So Sardinas turns it, and the A's, a good scoring opportunity, but they can't get it done. 4-3 after 6. Is set for Thursday in Los Angeles, and it's only on Comcast Sportsnet California. Our coverage begins at 7 p.m. with Sharks pregame live. Again, that's Thursday, and that will be Game 4. Game 3 is going on right now, and those two teams are tied 2-2 in the second intermission.
Number 48, Ryan Cook.
Sharks leading that series 2-0. It's James Logan High School. Those are the good folks that sang the national anthem today. They did a terrific job. Having a good time sitting down the right field line just above the Rangers bullpen. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and brake experts. Ryan Cook comes on in relief of Malone. So Tommy Malone will leave after 6 innings. He has a chance to get the win. So Norris staying in the game. He's the catcher. And Josh Wilson to lead it off. He'll be followed by Choice and Andrus. And a little fister, and that's going to be a hit. And Wilson makes a big turn on Reddick. Probably knew that Wilson wasn't going to go, but it's a leadoff single.
Well, you make a good pitch and you get burned. And
Number 15,
good pitch run again, and Ryan Cook has that hard fastball that runs in on the hands and look to left, hit it to right. That's what he did.
So Wilson gets his first hit, 6th hit for the Rangers, and now you head to the top of the order. Here's Choice. Choice takes a fastball on the inside corner for a strike. Choice has walked twice. He's bounced back to the pitcher, and he has scored a run. And a fastball right there for a strike. Michael Choice has taken 2 fastballs, both called strikes. 85 pitches for Malone tonight. So he can win it, cannot lose it. Tap back to Cook, who spins, fires to Lowry. Lowry to first, double play.
Well, it looked like Ryan Cook slipped as he threw the ball. Still made a very good throw to second base. Handled the hard hit ball back to him. Knew exactly who was going to be covering. See if he slips or something when he throws it. Right there, he's kind of stumbled a little bit, but still made the very good play. The 1-6-3 double play on the breaking ball.
So that's the third double play turn by the A's so far tonight.
That was a big one, especially after the blue pit.
Clear the bases with the big hitters coming up. Abad, the lefty, throwing.
Well, you think about Ryan Cook coming back the way he has. He missed a lot of spring training. And if he can throw, as we have seen him throw in the past, and add to an already great bullpen, Ryan Cook can be used in so many different ways. You've seen him set up, close. Right now, he's throwing as well as he ever has. All strikes in this inning.
The slider that Andrus does not chase this time.
That's a chasing slider that we saw last night, the inning in which Dan Straley struck out 3, 2 of those coming on the sliders down and out of the strike zone. Throw as hard as Cook does, he can afford to throw the hard slider and get hitters to chase a pitch out of the strike zone.
That's a shot smothered by Sogard. And how about that? Pretty good defense by the A's in the seventh inning stretch coming up. It's still 4-3 Athletics. Calorie soda and supported in part by Nelson Staffing, Comerica Bank, and State Roofing Systems of Sanley and Grove. Since the inaugural event in 1999, the A's have donated more than $1.3 million to breast cancer awareness, education, and research. Purchase a special $28 ticket, and $5 will go directly to the American Cancer Society. For more information and to purchase special tickets, go to athletics.com/.
Shortstop, number 8, Jed Lowry.
4-3, another tight game. That was the final score last night with the Rangers coming out on top. A's leading tonight. The Rangers go back to their bullpen. Sean Tollison comes in, right-hander. Sean Tollison pumps a fastball in there first strike. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. So there's the numbers for Tollison. Claimed off waivers from the Dodgers after the season.
As many pitchers and players they have If they just keep getting them, not surprised they just can't keep all of that.
Just get rid of them.
Just wave a pay their salary.
Donaldson, he's gone. Good arm, but he's gone. Too many good players. So 2-1 to Lowry, and then Donaldson, and then Moss. Fastball there, 2-2. Angels beat the Nationals 7-2, and of course the big story again, if you're just joining us, Albert Pujols hit career home runs 499 and 500 tonight. Slowly hit in the hole. Andrus, a jump throw, and what a play by Elvis Andrus. So he was playing up the middle. He had a range to his right, and then a jump throw. And Lowry is going to hover around first base. Bob Melvin is kind of waiting around, and this was the play.
No chance for Wilson to make the play, cutting in front of Elvis Andrus. Prince Fielder done a good job of stretching. And what they listen for, the umpire listens for the ball in the glove, foot on the bag.
Well, the replays looked like, I think they got it by a shade.
I think Bob Melvin's correct in saying that the A's white shoes sometimes works against them. The white bag, the white shoes, you know.
That's true.
And if you're listening for the ball and you're looking at the foot, you say, wait a minute, where's the foot and where's the bag? Are they all part of the bag?
So 1-0 to Donaldson. That's a good call. I never really thought about that. When does that white shoe touch that white bag?
There's the white shoe, and that's a wow. That is a bright white shoe.
So 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. High fly ball to shallow right. Rios. Instead, it's Sardinas who grabs it. 2 outs.
Sport Clips and the A's have partnered to celebrate America's armed forces. Sport Clips is accepting donations in exchange for haircuts at select A's games. All proceeds will benefit Freedom Alliance and USO. Visit the Sport Clips booth behind Section 235 before the 7th inning on May 26th and 27th, July 3rd through the 5th to get your A's haircut and support our armed forces. Sports Clip is proud to be the official hair cutter of the veterans of foreign war. Sports Clip, it's good to be a good guy. Guy. Good to be a guy. Jeez, just throw this at me, Joe. Thank you.
It's Joe's fault.
Jeez.
Joe McCarthy, our stage manager, it's his fault.
Jeez.
stats, and more. It's A's In Game Live, and it's on csncalifornia.com. Log on now and cast your vote. Cook stays out there. He'll face Rios. And there's the first pitch strike.
If you're a hitter, you have to look at Ryan Cook's nasty fastball, hard slider. That's not a good at bat.
Driven towards center. Coco back and now in a couple steps. Rios is out. He's 1 for 4. And Bob Melvin's going to get Doolittle to face Prince Fielder. So that was the plan all along. You have Cook to face Rios. He gets him, and when it's time for a change, think Speedy oil change and tune-up. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake expert. It's not Doolittle. Abad is coming in to face Prince Fielder.
Is brought to you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports, and by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
Top of the 8th inning, A's hanging on to a 4-3 lead over the Rangers. Should be a fun matchup here. Fernando Abad, a very hard thrower against big, powerful Prince Fielder.
Well, it's probably, we'll see the right hand in the on-deck circle, but Jim Johnson started to throw in the A's bullpen, so it could be a one-batter appearance for Abad.
First pitch is a strike.
A nice thing about Abad, and to look at the numbers for a left-hander who, a lot of zeros, 2 strikeouts, only 2 walks, but he not only throws hard, but he's got a lot behind it, and he's kind of aggressive looking. So it's not just an easy fastball. It's a hard with a lot of body behind it fastball.
Max effort guy.
Yes. Look at this follow through it. Yeah, there you are. Kind of looks like CC before he lost all the weight.
0-2 pitch. Breaking ball grounded towards Sogard, and that's out number 2. So Prince Fielder 1 for 4. And here's the switch hitter, Luis Sardinas. It's Johnson getting ready.
Now batting, number 3, Luis Sardinas.
Sardinas came in the game. Kuzmanov left with a sore back. Sardinas came in. He was hit by a pitch in the 6th inning.
Get hits by Abad, and he actually gets hit, he'll feel it.
Right at Donaldson, who knocks it down, picks it up, throws across in time. 3 up, 3 down inning. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 4-3 A's lead. Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 3-6-1 for Texas, 4-8-0 for the Athletics. Both starters are out. A's with a couple of big 2-out hits in this game. Costly error by the Rangers in that 4th inning. A couple of unearned runs for the A's. The bottom of the 8th. And the first pitch to Cespedes is curveballs. Swings and fouls it back. Sean Tollefson, or Tollison I should say. His 2nd inning of work. The Yankees beat the Red Sox 9-3. Tanaka, another good performance. Masahiro Tanaka is 3-0. Pitched into the 8th inning. Lester got beat up big time. Lester gave him 8 runs, 11 hits in 4 2/3 innings. Talk about Pujols in his 500 home runs. Now David Ortiz hit one tonight. Ortiz has 435.
Yeah.
435.
I think the amazing thing for Albert Pujols is the start he has had to the season, and the fact that we saw him in Anaheim hitting so well. He goes on the road and continues. That, you know, like anybody, the Angels I'm sure would like to have seen him do it in Anaheim, but as hot as he is, he's going to just keep hitting.
First guy to ever get to 500 by hitting 2 in a game.
Yeah, that's great.
Good fastball right at the knees, and Hollison gets the strikeout.
The Oakland A's and Journey are teaming up for a fireworks show on Saturday, May the 10th, when the A's take on the Washington Nationals at 6:05 p.m. Members of Journey will perform the national anthem before the game. The music of Journey will be featured during the post-game fireworks show presented by Xfinity. Purchase a special ticket that includes a commemorative A's and Journey t-shirt, and proceeds will benefit the Bill Graham Memorial Foundation. For tickets, go to athletics.com/journey.
Saturday night, the 10th of May. The A's will head out on a road trip tomorrow after the game. Another 3-city trip. Houston, Arlington, Boston is the trip.
That was a brand new helmet when Josh Meek started the year, but boy, that's a pine tar.
Shallow. Martin cannot get it. He short hopped it. Well, you want to talk about covering a lot of ground. He just came flying over from center field into shallow right center.
Well, with the wind, you never know how much the ball's going to stay up and how it's going to affect him. That's how close he came to making the play.
Number 36.
His very, very strong arm and his speed catching up to the ball, and did have Rios backing him up. So if it got in line, it'd been okay, but a nice play. Just a little bit short hop, and that's Alberto Callaspo at his best right there. Just finding a hole. Maybe that'll get him started again.
Derek Norris had a pinch hit double in the 6th inning, now staying in the game. Norris asked for time and he got it. Pitcher's nightmare right there.
But a lot of times, and I think in the case of this time, Tolleson was holding, thinking maybe Callaspo was going to run. So when you hold a long time, I think it's logical. You try to get time, and sometimes the umpire will grant it, other times it won't.
Fastball a little bit inside. Astros leading the Mariners now 5-2 in the 8th inning. Carter, Castro, Dominguez have all homered for the Astros. Smoke has homered for Seattle. Castro has a very short lead at first, but Tolleson checks on it anyway. Tigers beat the White Sox 8-6. Verlander got his 3rd win. Adam Dunn homered for the White Sox, career home run number 444.
A lot of home runs in the first base position between Konerko and Dunn. Approaching 900.
Royals beat the Indians 8-2 in Cleveland. Good outing for James Shields at his 2nd win. Had 9 strikeouts in 6 innings.
Yeah, Angel Hernandez wanted to rub up the baseball. I guess rare that the pitcher turned around and handed or threw the ball to Hernandez, the second base umpire. Rubbed it up, gave it back to him.
Don't see that very often.
Oh, she does, usually towards the plate.
Yeah, that one a little bit high. 2-1 count. Another quick throw. The Rays beat the Twins 7-3. Complete game for David Price. He had 12 strikeouts today, did Price. He's now 3-1 on the year. A's crowd, we're happy with Tolleson right now. Like to see him work a little faster. Rios in, and Rios has it. 2 outs. Join us tomorrow. The A's will wrap up this 3-game set with the Rangers. And how about this pitching matchup? Martin Perez, 3-0. Sonny Gray, 3-0. I think they're going to square off a lot upcoming years. We have that tomorrow. Our coverage starts at high noon, Comcast Sportsnet California. That'll be A's pregame live and then the ball game at 12:35. So join us for that. The home of A's baseball is Comcast Sportsnet. So Pedro Figueroa is coming in to face Reddick. Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Highlights from this game. Sharks and Kings. They got a good one going. Game 3. And Joe Lacob details the Warriors' new arena plans. Ahmed Free, David Feldman will host. Sounds like the Warriors are moving across the bay. Here's Figueroa to face Reddick. First pitch hits Reddick. I think it got him right in near the hip area. And now the Rangers staff is coming out to check on Figueroa. The A's staff is checking on Reddick.
Reddick got in the belt buckle right there in the stomach, belt buckle, and
there's a lot going on right now.
Yes, there is. Checked it right at the belt. So it got him on the right hip. And he hit the ground hard.
So that may have left a mark. Yeah. Reddick hopefully is okay. I'm not sure what's wrong with Figueroa.
Add him to the list.
Well, Ray, when a left-handed pitcher walks up holding his left arm like that, that's not good.
Yeah, that's dirty. Yeah. And he might have felt it, unfortunately, as he delivered it and left it inside as far as he did, because that's just
Huh. So Figueroa just holding that left arm straight down.
Kind of closed his hand and then just let it drop.
Your attention, please.
Wow.
Oh boy, you don't see that very often. So Alexi Ogando comes in the game. He's obviously going to have as much time as he needs. So we'll take a break. A's leading 4-3, trying to add on.
Former head coach of the Los Angeles Kings.
the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Fans follow every A's game with the MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile device or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, score, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit athletics.com today.
So bottom of the 8th, 2 on, 2 out. Alexi Ogando is the new pitcher. Ogando will face Sogar. So Ogando had plenty of time to warm up and as many throws as he wants, but he's ready. The first pitch is a strike on the outside corner. When it's time for change, the Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. Runners, Callasco at second, Reddick at first. Sogard swings and misses. Ogando, good fastball with good movement. And Gregerson is going to get the 9th inning. Sogard behind in the count, 0-2. Breaking ball, rolled foul. In the top of the 9th inning, it'll be Donnie Murphy, Robinson Chirinos, Leonis Martin. So it'll be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in that Rangers lineup.
Right, left. Gregerson would be the one to try to close it out.
0-2 pitch. Shallow left center. Martin gets to it. Side retired. A's strand a pair. 9th inning coming up. It's a 1-run game. A's trying to hang on.
.31 pitches, squeezed a little bit, but recovered nicely as his club tied the game in the bottom of the first inning. Gave him a 2-run lead on, ironically, 2 unearned runs. Typically, Owen is on the receiving end of the unearned runs, but tonight that is not the case. Good changeup. Tommy leaves after 6 innings. Our Honda player of the game, very deserving. Let's just hope we can hang on and give him a win to even his record.
So Gregerson takes over looking for the save. And it's Mitch Moreland who drives one to right, and that's going to get down for a hit, and it goes past Reddick. And Moreland is going to have a double on the first pitch he sees here in the top of the 9th inning. It's that Moreland guy again right here at the Coliseum.
Unfortunately, and As we knew, he's on the bench with Tommy Millow starting, and lefty did not get the start, but comes in the pinch hit. First pitch, bell time.
Now batting.
A line drive and hit to him so hard. Actually, like Reddick might have been playing no doubles, but even playing as deep as he was, couldn't cut it off.
So that's the tying run. Nobody out. So Gregerson, 3 saves, couple of blown saves, as he faces Chirinos, who squares around to bunt, and the pitch is up around his head, and he spins out of the way.
It's a breaking ball. It didn't break.
Leonis Martin is the on-deck hitter. Barton now at first base for defense. Bunted toward Barton. It checks up, so he picks it up. He'll throw to first. So nice bunt by Chirinos. He gets the job done on a sacrifice.
Well, as we saw last night, I think Chirinos would have been up there to bunt even with 2 strikes. We saw it with Moreland bunting
Now batting
with a 1-2 count last night, getting the job done.
Martin.
So Martin comes in, and the infield comes in. Josh Wilson is the on-deck hitter.
You know what you have to worry about? Squeeze as a possibility, and Gregerson out of the windup.
First pitch, slider that stays outside. Ron Washington's bench is pretty thin now. Moreland's been used. Sardinas is in the game. Remember, Chu has the bad ankle. And after Chu, the last guy is Aaron Sebia, who's in a huge slump, and he's your backup catcher.
Moreland's in the DH spot where Murphy was. His pinch hitter removed, or pinch hitter for Murphy in this half inning.
1-0 pitch, and there's the squeeze to Gregerson. He picks it up, flips to the plate, and they got him. So Gregerson, he did not panic. He stayed calm. He made a nice flip to the plate, and they got Moreland.
What a great play by Gregerson as he came off the mound and hurry up and throw a pitch so they can't do anything. But Martin got it down, coming in, and just a little underhand flip. And Derek Norris got the ball and made the tag. And it looked like Moreland was complaining to the home plate umpire. But in a play like that, you don't have much you can do. And I bet if you look at it, there's the foot. He's giving him the lane, gets the ball, then he turns to block him off. So, you know what Moreland was complaining about, there's no complaint because he had the ball in his glove. Moreland could have run him over at that point once he had the ball in his glove, but he gave him the lane and he didn't take it. He went straight into the plate, and that was the difference in that play. If Derek Norris had not had the ball, it would have been different, but he did. And what a great play to cut down the potential tying run.
Here's Wilson.
You know, it was a safety squeeze. It was not a suicide. Say Moreland, it's almost as if it was a bunt for a base hit by Martin and not a suicide. I think that's the look that Ron Washington had to Tim Bogart, his bench coach. Like, what is he doing? Because if the runner third is unaware, he hesitates, as is the case with Moreland coming down the line. If it's a suicide squeeze, as soon as Gregerson lifts his arm, he takes off. He did not do that. Made a great play, though, to get the out.
Martin, decent lead. He's got a little lean going towards second, so Gregerson keeping a very close eye on it.
Yeah, look at the foot. There's the lane. And then once he catches the ball, he turns and blocks it. And see what Moreland did, went straight for the plate. He could have gone to the side, tried to tag the plate with his hand. Over the weekend, Derek Norris did the same thing with Chris Carter. Gave him the lead. Carter it wasn't the same in a sense because Norris didn't have the ball. This time he did. Carter got his foot down on the plate.
First pitch to Wilson is outside. Josh Wilson is 1 for 3. He had a bloop single in the 7th inning.
Yeah, that's a shock. That's a surprise that Martin would do that with the infield playing in. And with his speed and everything working in favor of the Rangers with the runner at third, 1 out.
Runner goes. Pitches outside. Norris's throw is late. Martin has a stolen base. So you don't think the Rangers put on the safety squeeze play?
It just looked like too much of a surprise with Moreland. Now Gary Pettis talked to him, but I just don't think if it's a safety squeeze, he didn't have to run. And when the ball bunted as hard as it was to the pitcher, he was going to be an out at the plate. But I just think it looked like he caught Moreland by surprise when he saw the bunting. I don't know. Ron Washington is not afraid to use the sacrifice, the squeeze, a lot of different things.
So now the tying run is at second. A big stolen base by Martin. The 2-0 pitch inside corner with a slider, 2-1. Michael Choice is on deck.
Backup slider pushed Wilson back, but got the inside corner, and although probably not intended, but it worked out well. I think he'd much prefer to bury the slider outside, try to get Wilson to chase a couple.
Pop-up foul. So now 2-2. I don't think we've seen that real good Gregerson slider yet tonight.
That's what we keep waiting for.
Yeah, he's only thrown 9 pitches, but he usually has that nasty slider, especially to right-handed hitters.
Well,
we may see it now.
The one that goes down like a splitter, and we have not seen it, and let's hope that it's in his back pocket that he can throw it, because ideally you want to see him chase one out of the strike zone. Enough that Derek Norris can catch it or block it, but get him to swing and miss.
And that one's hit to left. That's hit pretty well. Cespedes on the move, and it's over Cespedes' head, and this game is tied. Josh Wilson ties it with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning.
On a hanging slider, never could get the bite that he wanted, and he hung it. Came close to being a 2-run home run. Instead, Cespedes couldn't get it. Look at this, right in the middle of the plate. Kept throwing it, and the young man who made an error to essentially allow 2 unearned runs to score ties it in the 9th inning with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Well, Cespedes just could not get back and that close to being a home run. Wow. So the stolen base helps, but a hanging breaking ball helps Wilson more.
And now you absolutely have to get Michael Choice. Choice is 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. So 1-0 to Choice. Choice taps one up the middle, center field, base hit. Here comes Wilson. He's going to score, and the Texas Rangers have taken the lead 5-4. Just a bouncer right up over the mound and into center field. So Gregerson, his 3rd blown save so far this year.
And last night it was 2 former Athletics that did the A's in. Scoring the last run, and tonight Michael Choice, who was acquired by the Rangers from the A's in the offseason, bounces one up the middle and drives in the go-ahead run.
So Kurt Young's going to trot out. And Johnson quickly gets up. So double, sacrifice, fielder's choice, play at the plate, and then a 2-out double, 2-out single, and the Rangers have the lead. been crazy first 2 games in this series. And Soria has been warming up, so he is ready.
But now you have to keep it at 1, and you have to worry about Michael Joyce trying to steal. And for the Rangers to send Martin, which was not a surprise because they sacrifice, they run, they do things that may be unexpected in some cases, but they get the job done.
First pitch to Andrus is outside. Well, I think the Rangers this year, and they still have some big bets, they will be more creative this year, I think, offensively.
Yeah, they've had to be, and they've done it. And
quick throw. Joyce gets back.
One of the strengths of the Athletics has been the bullpen. We knew coming in it was going to be a strength, and at least in these 2 games to this point, it's not been what the A's had hoped.
4 innings last night and 62 pitches from the A's bullpen. Tonight Malone went 6. Cook an inning and a third. Abad 2/3 of an inning, and Gregerson here in the 9th inning. I was feeling like this crowd's in shock.
Yeah.
Two 2-0 to Elvis Andrus. Toward Donaldson, big hop. Donaldson flips across, side retired. So 2 runs on 3 hits for the Rangers. They take the lead. Bottom of the 9th coming up. A's now trail by a run.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
And now they're trailing. So Soria comes in. He got the save in last night's game. He's 4 for 4 in saves. Last night he threw 20 pitches. The only base runner he allowed was the Andrus error. And the A's left the tying run at second base. So crisp Lowry Donaldson. So good part of the order up for the A's against Soria.
Gondo comes in and throws 4 pitches in relief of Figueroa, who threw 1 pitch and is the pitcher of record. That's a slow, tantalizing curveball that Soria throws. Coco took it and was called a ball.
Coco ground out a walk, an RBI double, and then he hit into a double play. 1 for 3 for Coco Crisp. Wilson, the third baseman, in on the grass, and there's a fastball first strike. That one drops low. Good take by Coco Crisp. it's 3-1. So Coco showing a good eye. Yeah, that one right there. Now full count. So Soria, good pitch down around the knees.
Not a bad take. That make him throw a strike, and he's got to throw a couple in a row. He is capable of doing it. It's just a question of whether to throw a quality enough strike. Coco just trying to get on base.
Soria kicks, and the 3-2 pitch. Coco swings and misses, and may have chased ball 4. That's just the third time an ace hitter has struck out tonight, and that's out number 1.
Well, that's a great point. And Coco had the ball running away. Just have to wonder with Adrian Johnson, early strike zone especially. He's called some of those pitches outside the lefties. That was elevated a little bit, but Coco no contact.
Lowry slaps one foul. 1 out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Soria is the 6th pitcher of the night for the Rangers. Martinez, Pareda, Tollison, Figueroa, Ogando, Soria. Of course, Figueroa threw just 1 pitch. Hayes, the only team in the majors that has not lost back-to-back games this year. Driven to left center field. Choice going back, still going back, and warning track. He's got it for out number 2. That was a well-hit ball by Lowry, but it's kind of hung up there. On a chilly night here at the ballpark, and that's 2 outs.
Well, you like to think with the A's and part of the batting order that one swing could tie it, but with the heavy air, it takes a crushed baseball to get out. Or if Donaldson got a hanging breaking ball that Wilson got, he would hit it out.
So see if Donaldson can get a mistake from Soria. Right field, but it's playable as Rios is back, and the A's go quietly in the bottom of the 9th inning, and that ends it, and well, that one's going to sting a little bit. So with 2 outs, the Texas Rangers scored 2 times in the top of the 9th inning to take a 5-4 lead, and the A's go down quietly in the bottom of the 9th. So the final score, the Texas Rangers 5 and the Oakland Athletics 4. So the Rangers, a pair of 1-run wins in this series, and the Rangers will go for the sweep tomorrow. Well, that one's a little bit tough to take, right? I mean,
I didn't think we'd be saying that. I thought we'd be going for the series win tomorrow after winning the 2nd game, but
well, and it was the Josh Wilson at bat. Obviously, he had the big hit, and it was a bad slider. Gregerson's got a terrific slider. It's his go-to pitch, and when he throws a good one, you can know it's coming and you're not going to hit it. That was not a good one, and Wilson took advantage of it. He almost hit it out.
I think he saw 5 pitches, all sliders, and not one had the real bite that we're accustomed to seeing from Gregerson. And he actually threw one to Michael Choice before he got the base hit up the middle, one that probably would like to have thrown to Wilson, maybe to get a chase to swing. But, you know, Wilson, like we said, made the error to allow the 200 runs to score, and I'm sure he was trying his best to do exactly what he did, and that's to at least tie the game with the 2 outs. But it was set up. The A's bullpen was there to try to do it. Tommy Malone, 6 strong innings, line for the win, but the bullpen could not hold it in back-to-back games.
And you know what makes it difficult too, Ray, is Jim Johnson struggled early with the closer role. He doesn't have it right now. And And Gregerson has struggled with this closer role. He's blown 3 saves now. That makes it very difficult on a manager because in the A's situation, you have quality guys down there. I mean, you have one of the best bullpens in the major leagues, but when you don't have the one guy that you can give the ball to in the 9th inning, no matter how many quality arms you have down there, it's difficult for the manager.
And the one thing it does, it changes roles.
Yeah.
It puts players in different positions that maybe, and we have to bring Sean Doolittle in there also because, remember, he just came up in 2012 as a pitcher. This is 13 and now 14, and he's being called upon, depending on the matchups, to be a closer. Gregerson's the closer, but, you know, it's a situation, I think you said it best, that if you have one guy, 101 saves the last 2 years, is the player, the pitcher who has had that experience, then everybody else kind of adds up to that point, sets up to get to Jim Johnson. We'll see what happens, but, you know, these are tough games to lose because one thing, and we saw it, especially with Qualls on Saturday, when the Houston Astros had a chance to win a game, their closer gave up 3 runs, and the A's had a walk-off. But when the A's have the lead, especially with a strong bullpen, they expect to win the game. And the bullpen has not been able to do that. And you know, maybe it's simply just because of the change in roles, guys in the position that they're not familiar with.
So tough loss tonight for the Athletics as the Rangers scored 2 in the top of the 9th, and the Rangers win it 5-4. One more game to play in this series. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Henry and Shooty starts right now near the dugout.